So today we're going to talk about major internal components of a computer. And we won't go over all of them, but we will discuss a few. So some of the ones we will talk about is a central processing unit, otherwise known as a CPU, motherboard, drive, fan, random access memory or RAM, network card, and sound or video card. This right here is a CPU or central processing unit. This will determine the processing power for applications. If your computer does not have a CPU or central processing unit, your applications will not operate on your computer. This also goes for iPods, iPads, cell phones, anything that runs an application. So again, this will determine the processing power. If you don't have it, it won't work. This picture here shows several components in one. The upper left-hand corner, the square disk, silver square disk, is a optical drive. Right below, which not all computers will have. Right below that is a hard drive. Some computers will have. If it doesn't have a hard drive, it will have an SSD, otherwise known as a solid state drive. Now there's a couple differences between a hard drive and a solid state drive. A hard drive is volatile, which means that it won't keep memory if you lose power. It needs power in order to save files and anything to your memory. An SSD, or solid state drive, is non-volatile, which means that it will keep memory even if you lose your power. It also is sometimes chosen over a hard disk or a hard drive simply because it allows faster access to stored information, there's a higher reliability with it, and it uses less power consumption, all of which is good. Now moving on to the next component, in the middle of the laptop toward the top, and also kind of toward the right, these are both fans. Now there are several types of fans that you could have. You could have a case fan, which is a fan that is inside the case and it circulates air within just the computer case. You could have a CPU fan, which is what I believe this one here is, and it is located on top of your computer processor and it circulates the air so it keeps your computer from overheating, specifically the CPU part of it. Your power supply fan, which is located in your power supply, and then your video card fan, which is located in your video card. Now right below that middle fan is a RAM, otherwise known as the random access memory. This is how your computer stores files. Now just like the hard drive, it is volatile, which means that it needs power in order to store information. RAMs can be all sorts of different sizes. The one I have in my MacBook Pro is an 8 GB. I could have bought a 16 GB when I first bought my computer, but I chose not to. And after you buy it, there's no upgrading it. Some computer companies will allow something much, much bigger. But you have to decide, usually when you buy the computer, there are some that you can upgrade after the fact, but usually you have to do this when you buy the computer. Now right below that is the battery. This is just one battery, but if you look at the inside of an Apple computer, there's actually multiple, which is how they're able to get a computer to run for 10 to 16 hours. Then right above that battery and kind of surrounding the RAM and the fans, that is what's known as the motherboard. That is what connects everything together. It connects your optical drive to the battery, to the RAM, to the fans, everything. This is also how everything communicates with each other. This is kind of similar to your central processing unit or the CPU. If you don't have a motherboard, your computer won't work because there's no way for anything to be able to communicate with each other or know that you even have a battery if it's not hooked in. So again, that's another essential component of a laptop. This right here is a network card. This was what allows your computer to connect to the internet or the network. And this one is via Ethernet, but you can also get some where it allows you to connect wirelessly as well. This last and final component is a two-in-one. It's a sound card and a video card. Now, this would be found on the very left-hand side of an Apple computer. The sound card, it's a form of an expansion card, and it allows sound to be produced for headphones and speakers. You wouldn't necessarily need this, but you would if you wanted to be able to produce sound into headphones and speakers and so forth. The video card portion of it, it's kind of needed. It's an internal board that creates pictures on your display. So basically what I'm saying is without this portion, you won't have a display. So that's why you kind of need this portion.